Title: The Christmas Eve Showdown. It was Christmas Eve, a time meant for love and joy, but in the elegant, softly lit living room of Taylor Swift's luxurious Nashville mansion, the air was thick with tension. The Christmas tree sparkled, casting a warm glow over the room, but the magic of the season seemed miles away. Travis Kelce had just dropped to one knee, his heart racing as he looked into Taylor's eyes. He had been planning this moment for weeks, envisioning how perfect it would be, how they would become the most talked about couple in the world. After all, he had found someone who understood him, who brought him peace amidst his chaotic life in the spotlight. "Taylor," he began, his voice shaking slightly with emotion. "I've never been more certain about anything in my life. You're my everything. Will you marry me?" Taylor's eyes widened, her face a mix of surprise and something else that Travis couldn't quite place. She took a step back, her hand trembling slightly as she gently held up her palm. "Travis, I can't," she said softly, her voice breaking the silence like a sharp crack in a frozen pond. "I love you, but I'm not ready for this. Not yet." The words hit Travis like a ton of bricks. His heart sank, the joy that had once filled the room now replaced by a crushing wave of disbelief. He stood up, his hands clenched into fists by his sides. "Not ready," he repeated, his voice rising with frustration. "We've been together for months, Tay. You've been in my life, we shared everything, and now you're telling me you're not ready?" Taylor swallowed, her eyes filled with tears that she refused to let fall. "I need more time. I've been through a lot in my past relationships, and I can't rush into something so big. I care about you, Travis, but it's too soon." The silence between them grew unbearable. Travis ran a hand through his hair, his jaw tightening. He had always prided himself on being calm under pressure, but something in the way Taylor had rejected him, a rejection so gentle yet so firm, had broken something inside him. The rage bubbled up from a place he didn't even know existed. "I can't believe this," he growled, his voice low but filled with raw emotion. "You asked for time, you asked for patience, and I've given it to you. But now, you say you need more time? On Christmas Eve? Seriously?" Taylor's eyes widened as Travis stepped back, his hands shaking with fury. His breath came in sharp bursts as he fought to contain the rising storm within him. "You knew how much this meant to me. You knew this was coming," he continued, pacing in agitation. "But here I am, laying it all out, and you just shut me down. You're not ready? Well, maybe I'm not either, but I'm not going to sit around waiting for you to figure it out." His voice broke with frustration, the words coming out like daggers. Taylor stood frozen, her heart aching at the anger in his eyes. She had never seen him like this before. This wasn't the calm, collected Travis she had come to love. This was a man on the verge of breaking, and she felt helpless. "Travis, please," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I don't want to hurt you. I'm just not ready for that step yet. Can you understand that?" But Travis could barely hear her over the pounding in his chest. "I don't understand," he spat, his voice filled with rage. "I've given you everything, and now you're telling me you can't even say yes to the one thing I thought would make everything right between us?" In that moment, the room seemed to shrink around them. The Christmas lights flickered in the silence, the only sound was the harsh rhythm of Travis's breathing. He had never felt this exposed, this vulnerable. His world, which had once seemed so solid, was crumbling in front of him, all because of the woman he loved. "Maybe we should just take a break," he said through gritted teeth, his eyes blazing. "Maybe we need some space." Taylor's heart shattered as she nodded, unable to speak, knowing that this moment might change everything between them. She had never wanted to hurt him. But her fears were too great, and she needed time to figure out what she wanted and what she was truly ready for. With a final, pained glance at each other, Travis stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind him. The sound echoed through the empty halls of the mansion, leaving Taylor alone in the quiet aftermath of their shattered Christmas Eve. The tree continued to twinkle, but the magic was gone. Title: Travis Kelce's Heartbreak, A Christmas Eve Plea. It was Christmas Eve, and the glow of the city lights reflected the warmth of the holidays. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce had been spending the evening at her New York City penthouse. The snow fell gently outside, creating the perfect winter wonderland as they sat by the fireplace, sipping hot cocoa. The air was filled with love and the anticipation of what the night would bring. Travis had been planning this moment for months, consulting with friends and family, making sure every detail was perfect. He had even picked out a beautiful diamond ring, something that would capture Taylor's elegance and style. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, he knew it was time. "Taylor," Travis began, his voice filled with emotion. "We've been through so much together, and I truly believe we're meant to be. I love you with everything I have, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Taylor, who had been caught up in the magic of the moment, paused. She looked into his eyes, sensing the intensity in his voice. Travis took a deep breath, pulling out the ring, its sparkle catching the soft light of the room. "I want to make this Christmas unforgettable," he said, his heart racing. "Will you marry me?" For a moment, everything seemed to stop. The fire crackled softly in the background as Taylor's eyes widened. She looked down at the ring, then back at Travis, her lips trembling as she processed what he had just asked. Travis, I love you," she whispered. "But I'm not ready for this. I can't. Not now." The words felt like a punch to Travis's chest. His heart sank, and for a moment, he couldn't breathe. He had prepared himself for all kinds of responses, maybe a laugh, a pause for thought, even a tear, but not this. "No. Taylor, please," he begged, his voice shaky. "I thought we were on the same page. You said we were building something strong. We've been through so much together." Taylor stepped back, her eyes filled with sorrow. "We have, but I need time. It's not something I can rush into. I need to be sure. I'm not there yet, Travis." The words echoed in his mind, and Travis felt a surge of frustration and anger. His face reddened, his hands clenched, and his emotions boiled over. "Are you serious?" he shouted, his voice shaking with fury. "After everything we've been through, you're telling me you need more time? It's Christmas Eve, Taylor. This was supposed to be perfect." The words were out before he could stop them, and Taylor took a step back, stunned by the outburst. She had never seen him like this, not even close. The hurt in his eyes was replaced by something darker: rage. "Travis, I didn't mean to hurt you," Taylor said softly, her voice trembling. "I just can't give you what you're asking for right now. Please understand." But it was too late. Travis was already pacing across the room, his emotions spiraling out of control. He had envisioned this moment for so long, imagining it to be one of the happiest nights of his life. Now, it felt like everything was crashing down around him. "I can't do this," he muttered, his voice barely audible. "I thought you were the one, Taylor. But if you can't see that, then maybe I'm wasting my time." The words stung more than he expected, and as soon as he said them, Travis regretted it. But the anger was still there, like a storm raging inside him. He grabbed his coat, not bothering to look at Taylor again. "I need some space," he said, his voice breaking. Taylor stood frozen, tears welling in her eyes, but she didn't chase after him. She couldn't. Travis stormed out of the penthouse, the door slamming behind him, leaving Taylor standing there, heartbroken. Outside, the snow fell heavier now, the streets quiet and empty. Travis walked aimlessly, the cold air doing little to calm his heated emotions. His heart ached, his thoughts a whirlwind of confusion and hurt. He had never felt so lost. Back inside, Taylor sank to the floor, hugging her knees to her chest, as the silence of the room swallowed her whole. She hadn't wanted this to happen, but she knew that she wasn't ready for such a big step, no matter how much she loved Travis. The weight of the decision hung over her, and she wondered if she had just lost him forever. As the night wore on, the world outside remained frozen in time, but for Travis and Taylor, Christmas Eve would never be the same again. Title: A Christmas Eve Rejection. It was a crisp Christmas Eve in Kansas City, the streets covered in a blanket of fresh snow, and the city lights twinkling like stars in the distance. Inside a cozy, yet lavishly decorated home, Travis Kelce paced nervously, his mind racing. He had planned everything down to the last detail, wanting this night to be perfect. After months of public appearances, rumors, and constant media attention, he had decided it was time to take their relationship to the next level. Travis had been dating Taylor Swift for nearly a year now. What started as an unexpected pairing had blossomed into something deeper. They shared intimate moments, laughed together, and supported each other through life's ups and downs. But tonight, Travis was about to ask the question that would forever change their lives. He stood in front of the large Christmas tree, holding the engagement ring in his hand, a symbol of his love and commitment. The room was adorned with ornaments, twinkling lights, and the scent of freshly baked gingerbread cookies filling the air. Taylor was upstairs getting ready, and Travis knew it was the perfect time. He had rehearsed his words 1,000 times in his head, yet now they felt lost in the whirlwind of emotions swirling inside him. As Taylor descended the staircase in a beautiful red dress, her blonde hair cascading in soft waves around her shoulders, Travis' heart skipped a beat. She looked breathtaking, like a vision of Christmas magic itself. But beneath her smile, Travis could see a flicker of doubt, something he couldn't quite place. "Travis, this is beautiful," Taylor said, her voice soft and filled with admiration as she walked into the living room, eyes glancing over the setup. "You've really outdone yourself this time." "Taylor," Travis began, his voice thick with emotion. He dropped to one knee, holding out the velvet box, his heart pounding louder than the Christmas music playing softly in the background. "I love you more than words can say. You've brought so much joy into my life. And tonight, I want to make sure you know that I'm ready for forever. Will you marry me?" The room fell silent, the glow of the Christmas lights now casting a shadow over the moment. Taylor's expression shifted from surprise to hesitation. She looked down at the ring, then back up at Travis. A cold shiver ran down his spine as her eyes filled with uncertainty. "Travis," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I care about you so much, I really do. But I'm not ready for this. I love you, but this is too much, too soon." The words hit Travis like a punch to the gut. His heart sank as she took a step back, her face filled with regret. He had imagined a joyful response, a tear-filled yes, but instead, he was met with the one thing he hadn't expected: rejection. A wave of anger surged through him, an emotion he rarely let take hold. The years of pressure, the constant scrutiny, the feeling of being vulnerable, all collided in a split second. He stood up abruptly, his hands shaking as he slammed the ring box onto the table. "What do you mean, you're not ready?" Travis snapped, his voice rising in volume. "You've been here, we've been through everything together. I've been there for you, supported you through it all, and now you're telling me you don't want this? You don't want me?" Taylor took a step back, her eyes wide, the words cutting deeper than he intended. "Travis, I don't want to hurt you, but I can't say yes to something I'm not sure about. I don't want to be rushed into a decision like this." But Travis was too far gone, the mix of hurt and fury clouding his judgment. "I've put myself out there for you, Taylor. And you can't even say yes to me on Christmas Eve?" His voice shook with frustration. "You say you care, but when it comes down to it, I'm just not enough, am I?" The words left his mouth like a storm, and Taylor recoiled. Her face crumpled with emotion, but she didn't have the words to match the intensity of his outburst. The quiet that followed was deafening.